Can Nate Diaz get it done on the last fight on his UFC contract against Khamzat Chimaev? See who fighters are picking in the latest edition of MMA Pros Pick.
It's sad to say, I think he ragdolls him. I think he doesn't have the strength. Chimaev, when he was able to ragdoll the Chinese fighter, the Lynch, when he ragdolled him, I know how strong he is because the Lynch fought my homie Neil, and Neil told me how strong he was. So for him to just manhandle him, I don't think he is. Like, I think he's just not strong enough. Like, he has the skill, but he's a 5-round type of fighter. This isn't going to be 5 rounds. Chimaev is going to pounce on him early, and he's super aggressive. He's gonna blitz him. It's almost gonna be like Ngannou, except with wrestling.
Give me Khamzat.
I mean, I'm gonna pick Diaz. It sounds crazy. I know a lot of people are saying it for the same reasons I am. That some of the things Diaz does well, I think, can give Khamzat problems because some of the cardio, some of the durability. I just worry it all comes down to how Nate shows up. If he shows up in shape and ready to fight hard, I think he can drag that fight out and maybe give some real problems. So it's a little bit of picking with my heart, but I hope Diaz can pull it off.
My heart says I want Diaz to win. I want him to win. But the fighter in me realistically does not see that happening. I think Chimaev's just going to be too much pressure, too good of a grappler. I mean, I know Nate's got good jits, but that man has ungodly grappling capabilities. And I was actually in Abu Dhabi, and I watched this man run on the treadmill, like getting it for like a solid 30 minutes, and it didn't even look like he even broke, like he was even breathing hard. I was just like, man, I mean, the guy's he's just an animal, man. You know, he can strike. His grappling's phenomenal. I just see him just being a little too much for Nate.
Khamzat has shown, what an explosive fighter is. He went on that amazing streak where, so many finishes in very quick time. He's powerful, he's explosive, he's very dangerous, and he's very game. And, I think, the fans and coaches were able to see some flaws in his style in that fight with Gilbert Burns. And Khamzat has had success with these quick finishes, and sometimes when you're constantly hunting that finish, it can fatigue you and wear you out. And there's one thing that Diaz brings. It's that resiliency, it's that durability, and it's his volume. And he tends to wear his guys down as these fights progress. Lots of volume, lots of striking, lots of variations and mixing it up. And he's tough. It's going to be a hard fight though for Diaz, and he's going to have to come in very conditioned. I think he's going to have to weather an early storm to get to a point where he could fatigue Khamzat and start putting on a flurry. I think Khamzat's power early on, though, and his explosiveness is going to be able to edge out a victory. Well, not edge out. I think he's going to get his hand raised in a dominating fashion.
I would probably go with Chimaev personally, but like I say, you never know with fighting. I feel like you can never put all your eggs in one basket. There's so much going on.
I know Khamzat is a tough guy, and he's a new up and coming thing, but I ain't never sleeping against the Diaz brothers. You know what I mean? They're the guys who been in this game for a long time, and as we've seen with Nate Diaz's fight against Leon Edwards, yeah, he was getting battered and bruised this whole fight, but it only took 10 seconds for the tide to turn quickly. And I feel like, if it wasn't for the showboating, maybe Nate Diaz could have got him a late round finish, but that's what they do best, right? Showboat. So I'm going to go Nate Diaz on this. I've been a longtime fan of his. This is one of his last fights. I feel like he'll, bring all the tricks and trades out, and we'll see Nate Diaz hopefully back on top for his last fight in the UFC.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Diaz brothers in general they're very good fighters, and Nate has shown that he is very, very talented, but they have a very specific set of skills and a very predictable fighting style, and yeah, he's not terribly good against pressure wrestlers. So I think if Chimaev gets in on him and then can control his hips on the ground, it's going to be a fairly easy win for him. Obviously, Nate's great on his back and great on the ground as well, but against a wrestler, it's really, really hard to get any submissions off if they know what they're doing. And then Chimaev's also a great power puncher as well. So, I mean, Nate's hard to put away. So as long as he stays patient, works his wrestling in there, Nate can be pretty easy to outpoint if you keep pressure on him and keep wrestling.
I hate this matchup so much. I want to say Nate Diaz with all my heart, but I just can't.
If I had to put $500 on, I'm going to go Chimaev because the reason why, not because I think Nate Diaz would just lose because he's a lesser opponent. I think Nate Diaz is going to lose because it feels like from his tweets that he doesn't really care about the game anymore. He's ready to get out. He's ready to be done with his contract. He doesn't have that old Nate fire like he used to have. So I don't know if he really cares as much as he used to.
Man, you can never count Nate Diaz out, man. He's a strong, doesn't care what people think, doesn't care whether the odds are against him. He always goes out there and does his best and got a good gas tank. And just the Nate Diaz brothers, I really respect them. They're not just throwing punches, doing martial arts, but they're taking it as a athletic approach. They always have good cardio. I know they do little triathlons, and they take care of themselves. So good luck with Nate Diaz. Khamzat, he's on a upward rise, and he showed good heart in that Gilbert fight. So both of them have a good chance, a good opportunity. I'm looking forward to the matchup. Nate Diaz has good jiu-jitsu as well as lengthy and good stand-up, good cardio. But Khamzat is a train, he goes through people. So, I wish both of them luck and looking forward to the fight.
If you had to pick a side, though, would you think Khamzat wins that? I know he's a big favorite going into the fight.
If I had to pick a favorite or pick someone that to win the fight, I always go with underdog. I'll go with Nate Diaz. I hope he, finishes on a strong note and does his best in there.
I mean, I think everybody's gonna say Chimaev's supposed to win that fight, but I'm just gonna jump on the Nate Diaz side just because it'd be a shock. It'd be fun if that happened. I think it'd be such a shock that if Nate Diaz went out there and beat him. But I for sure think that Chimaev will win. But I'm just gonna root for Nate Diaz and hope that he takes the W.
I think it's not a surprise that Chimaev is a one-of-a-kind fighter, a one-of-a-kind character, and I think he's gonna do what he's good at and just smash everybody who's in front of him. So unfortunately, I like Nate, but I think it's gonna be a rough night for him.
At first I was like, I don't know why they're making this matchup, but then I did more research and it sounds like it's Nate's representative who said Nate wanted this fight a lot. So I don't know why a lot of fighters are, complaining about it. If Nate wants to fight, other fighters shouldn't bitch about it. Let him have his last fight. It's obviously the last fight of the UFC that he's gonna have unless they, come back to mutual terms, but it's not on any of us to decide whether or not what's best for Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz could absolutely go out there and get mauled and then potentially almost get a finish. We've seen that before. Him, Leon Edwards, he was getting outclassed in the first 4 rounds, 5th round, catches the guy right on the chin and he just doesn't follow up. With Khamzat, I feel like we'll see Khamzat just take it to the ground, try to use his wrestling to ragdoll it. But Nate Diaz, he isn't a quitter, dude. He doesn't quit in his fights, and I think that he wants this fight to give himself an opportunity, because if he does stop Chimaev, that's a huge hype train for the UFC that gets derailed. And if Nate leaves right after that, what does that do for the UFC when it comes to Khamzat? So I think Nate Diaz knows what he's doing. It's a lose-lose for Khamzat unless he gets an early knockout finish. Because if it goes 5 or 3 rounds, 5 rounds, it's why couldn't he put away old man Diaz? Diaz finishes him, it's oh, like this is not a good look. So
right.
Diaz is being smart with it because it doesn't matter. It's a win-win for him. He's still getting money to go out there and fight, whether he wins or loses.
Who are you putting your money on, though? Who do you think wins?
Dude, I'm a Diaz fan, but I mean, if I had to put money on the fight, I'd put it on Chimaev. But that's why I'm not going to put any money on this fight, because a part of me thinks that Diaz is going to come out and just do something stupid and manage to land something. But that's the fight game, man. Anything can happen, and I grew up always rooting for the Diaz bros. It's nothing against Chimaev or anything like that, but hey, come on. Cali represent, right?
I mean, the real question is if Nate makes that alive. Khamzat's going to win. I just hope that he doesn't hurt Nate too bad in there.
Oh man, I love Nate. I think he's awesome, but I think he's gonna get ran over.